Hey guys, it's Nathan from the Kentucky Cycling YouTube channel. Welcome to the next Zoom interview in the Kentucky Cycling Connection series. I'm excited to introduce my guest today, who is Gerry James from the Explore Kentucky Initiative. Gerry, welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for being here. So I just thought we'd start with some background questions, kind of get to know you stuff, if that's okay. Why don't we start by just having you tell us a little bit about yourself, including how you made your way to Kentucky.
There's so many pieces to that, but in a nutshell, I made the connection to Kentucky for someone that I was interested, someone that I grew up with and I had a relationship with, and I wanted to be closer to them.
Okay.
But it didn't work out, luckily, and I stayed here and discovered how wonderful Kentucky is.
So when did you first come to Kentucky?
2010. I actually came for school, finishing up my on-the-job training with my Air Force unit. So I joined the Air Force in 2009 and the reserve. And so they have what's called OJT time, or on-the-job training. So I did on-the-job training with my unit. And once I finished that period of time, I wanted to go back and finish my college degree. So I came to Kentucky. Yeah.
You came to Campbellsville, is that right?
Campbellsville, yeah, Campbellsville University.
What did you study there?
Mass communication area major, and did coursework in environmental science as well.
Cool, very good. I know the Explore Kentucky initiative is broader than cycling, so I'm interested to know what your favorite forms of exercise are.
Paddling, of course. I love paddling.
Paddling, yeah. Okay, cool. And you do some other things too, right?
Yeah, I love paddling. I love rock climbing, nature watching. I got into mountain biking a couple of years ago. But yeah, pretty much anything outside I like doing.
So when it comes to cycling, so you mentioned mountain bike. So if I gave you a choice between road bike, mountain bike, and gravel bike, you'd choose mountain bike?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite place to ride a bike in Kentucky?
I like Sugarcane Mountain Trails over in Prestonsburg. So I got into mountain biking. So I mean, I guess as a kid, all children ride bikes. But as an adult, I hadn't really, gotten into the diaspora of cycling. And then there was this woman named Kay in Prestonsburg. Mm-hmm. And she told me about these trails. She was like, "Oh, these trails are awesome." Because a lot of people know me because Explore Kentucky is widely followed. It has 40,000 followers. So she was just she had been reaching out, and she was like, "Yeah, these trails are awesome." And I was just oh, they're probably nothing. I was I thought she was just gassing it up. My friend Chris Davis was going. And so I was like, okay, let me go check it out. I went there and I was like, oh my gosh, because I like excitement. I like energy, being exhilarated. And so I like the downhill. I like the downhills, how Sugar Camp has if you can really rip on those trails. It was a lot of fun, beautiful scenery there, good fast runs, and you can do multiple laps and stuff. So I really like Sugar Camp.
I would agree with what you're saying. I think Sugar Camp is someplace that people should definitely check out, and I'll include a little link to a video that we did, what I call Trail Gnome Tour with Josh Turner, who is sort of the head trail gnome down there. Great place.
I'm assuming a lot of your viewers are in Central Kentucky. I really, really like the Parklands of Foot Fork as well. The bike park there, really accessible to people of all cycling, abilities. Really fast, nice runs. Then they have the skill building course too, which is kind of cool.
All right, so turning our attention to the Explore Kentucky initiative. For those who are not familiar, what is the Explore Kentucky initiative and how did it get started?
So it got started because I went in 2012, I worked as part of the social media team at the Super Bowl in Indianapolis. And so I was part of the command center where we were kind of controlling all the social media for the event. If someone tweeted about NFL Super Bowl, we would tweet them back or ask questions. We would provide information hey, is Madonna singing this year? And we type back yeah. And then we also had this big Google Maps powered geolocation deal, so we could see hot spots where people were tweeting at, Facebooking at, and I don't know, it was just cool. We would aggregate photos and share them. So we're trying to give people like a really good, robust digital experience alongside of it. So I took, that in my mind. And then also like being a military brat, wanting to travel all around the country, I was like, man, Kentucky is super like underrated. It reminds me of like Germany, the terrain and stuff like that. And then there was also another component, when I first moved, was telling my Air Force buddies and people that I was going to Kentucky, they were like, oh man, they're like, it's like racist there. It's like, yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of negativity about it. After being there for a bit, I was like, Kentucky's like the stuff. And so I was like, being in communications, courses, I was like, we really need a digital campaign for Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So I like had like around Kentucky, about Kentucky, just different things I was tossing around, and Explore Kentucky just stuck. My buddy Austin, I saw like on the this license plate, those old school license plates from the 50s that the state used to make. It said Explore Kentucky, so that name got that name from there, and it stuck. So it was just Instagram at first, just sharing where to go, what to do around the state, and then it popped off. People start using the hashtag Explore Kentucky. I was traveling around, posting pictures. Different communities would call me, and be like, hey, like, we have the oldest bridge in Kentucky. Can you come cover it? Take a picture. Can you come to this museum and talk to our curator? And the newspaper, I remember it's like the Danville, I think it's called the Advocate Messenger. They wrote an article about me, and it was like social media renaissance man. Like, so it kind of just all from like the social media and really being intentional about forming community. So I didn't want to just be, oh, it's just Gerry James. So some people don't even know that I started it. They just know it's like a viral account. But I was really intentional about getting people to own it. So like Explore Kentucky is yours, like your adventures and stuff like that. And so then from there, around about 2016, after I was like, I need to do this like full time. I need to make I finally can figure out how to make it full time and do what I really want to do, which is affect systemic change. So I started doing events. So like guided hikes, paddle sports programs, projects and stuff like that. And so it kind of, the genesis was the social media movement.
When did you start the Instagram account?
October 2013.
So basically for 2.5 or 3 years, it was mostly that way. And then you parlayed it into something bigger.
Yeah, I incorporated it and everything, and it became like a social enterprise. But yeah, I was basically like, I worked for the Nature Conservancy, and then from there, I just started doing like more freelance work. So I did like a lot of photography projects for different entities, and I did like this little rock climbing video for the state. And so I was figuring out what was the structure I wanted to make Explore Kentucky. And so I wanted to make it into like a social enterprise. So social enterprise is, it's a company that, makes revenue, makes money, but it affects social change, and it tries to benefit its stakeholders. Whereas like, like a company, its role is to benefit its investors and stuff like that. But for me, like my stakeholders are like the state of Kentucky, our citizens, and stuff like that.
That's awesome. That's cool. I mean, I know you have a lot of sort of partners in this effort, but are you a one-man show from an employment perspective?
Yeah, for sure. But I do, when I can, I'm all about putting people on. So like I have like people that I work with and that I've met over the past several years, and I collaborate with them. Like one of those people is like Josh Patton and my friend Zach Hannibal. Zach is from Ruston, Louisiana. We worked at a summer camp down in Texas called Pine Cove. So he helped me design like the first Explore Kentucky like logo, and that logo like is like all over Kentucky with our stickers and shirts. And then I met Josh Patton whenever I was in college. He went to my like rival college, Lindsey Wilson, and we met at church, this little church in Columbia, Kentucky. That was in this coffee shop. So me and him met, and we had like, you know, mutual interests and things of that sort. So we kind of kicked off a friendship from there. And he's a really brilliant graphic designer. He's also a really brilliant mountain or cyclist. And he was on the cycling team at Lindsey Wilson. He's now the head coach now. Okay. So he helped design. He did like a lot of the graphic work for Explore Kentucky and posters and just incubating, kicking back ideas and helped me with stuff. So he was a big figure. And then I don't know if you know Aaron Denny down in Somerset.
I've made his connection. I plan to do a what I call a Trail Gnome tour with Aaron. Hopefully, fingers crossed, in June. I haven't circled back around to him for all the COVID-19 stuff, but only really through Facebook at this point in time. But I hope to turn some pedals with him.
Yes, Aaron's dope. Him and his wife, they've been helping out with my Waterman series stuff for a while. But yeah, so there's just been like a lot of different figures, Matt Walker, Melinda Walker in Lexington.
Good deal. And looking at your website, and actually one of your logos in particular, I noticed that on some of your merchandise, you focus on 3 words: explore, connect, and sustain. And so I just wonder if you might go into just a little bit of detail about how Explore Kentucky initiative touches on each of those concepts: explore, connect, and sustain.
I try to think about everything that I do, you know, it's exploration. So like, it's weird to think this, but like sometimes, you know, I use this term a lot, OGs. So a lot of times the OGs will, oh, people already know about the gorge. People already know about Big South Fork. People already know about all these different places. But the reality is there's someone every day, right now, this minute, while we're talking, that is discovering a different natural area for the first time. Whereas, you know, the people that have been in this for a while, they're like, oh, like, I don't want to see another post about this or hear about that. So Explore Kentucky is about helping those people that are just getting into this, you know, just getting into outdoor recreation. A lot of outdoor recreation organizations, or they kind of cater towards a clientele that is existing. And so for me, I'm trying to get people that are just new.
Before you leave Explore, so I'm curious to know if there are places, some hidden gems that you've discovered through this process that maybe you didn't know about before.
I mean, so many places. I mean, because, you know, my first couple of years here was in college at Campbellsville. So Campbellsville's in rural Kentucky, well, in rural Taylor County. So my worldview of Kentucky was limited to like, you know, that region. And then, so yeah, I've discovered so many different places, you know, like the Pine Mountain Trail, Kingdom Come State Park, like I said, Sugar Camp, this awesome little waterfall in Harlan County called Gates Branch Falls, Letcher County over Bad Branch Falls, the Bernheim, Knob State Forest, Catania State Forest, Kentucky River Palisades. So many places. The Breaks Interstate Park, man, there's just
I have a feeling you could go on all day.
Yeah, 300 springs on the Green River, really beautiful place. Land between the lakes, you know, the paddling the lakes, the big lakes. So there's so many different places. So like that's what it's about, is explore, is getting out and learning about those places. And a big portion of that is because I made a conscious decision to, a lot of times when in outdoor recreation, Kentucky focuses on the River Gorge. And so like my goal is to kind of get people to learn about all the other places, kind of ease some pressure off the gorge, but also let other areas get some love.
Cool. And so then the next word there was connect.
Yeah, so connect. So I think that connect is very important. A lot of times people stay in like their little social circles, echo chambers, and different things of that sort. And so, and it can be intimidating for people. You know, imagine if you are like, you know, a top mountain biker and you can crush all these different, advanced trails, you might not necessarily interact with someone that's just in the beginning, just a beginner. And so like I think it's important for people of all like shapes, sizes, ability levels to come together, and to transfer knowledge and just to have some diversity. The connecting is like through these events that I do. For example, like I'm a really big into paddling, and so I have I have like instructor certification in various disciplines, and I do these events, and these events are centered around like we have a race component, but we also have like a float component and then a festival component, and at some of the programs, and it's designed to get people to meet new people, learn new skills and stuff like that. And then another part of the connection is through the social media. So like a lot of people through Explore Kentucky have met new friends. It's kind of cool. I think I even know people that have gotten like married or dating from like someone clicking the Explore Kentucky like hashtag.
So you're like a virtual matchmaker.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, so you go on Instagram and you click the Explore Kentucky hashtag, and you might see a cool picture of someone, this really cool vista, and then you're like, click it, and you're like, oh snap, that's Nathan Rome, and man, Nathan, where is that? So then the people start commenting back and forth, and it kind of establishes digital friendship, and then from there, it's like you might say like, well, Gerry, I grew up, in Harlan County. Come on down, and I'll show you this, this, and this. And so that's totally happened. And I know it's at least happened for me. Like I've had a lot of friends that have popped off from like social media and stuff like that. So that's part of the connection, is getting to know people and learning.
I love it. I mean, it's very much you're a man after my own heart. And I'll just say, in the spirit of full disclosure, we live probably about 4 or 5 blocks away. And this is the first time we're sitting down to have a conversation, even though we have a lot of mutual friends. So I'm surprised our paths haven't crossed. But man, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of what you're talking about is really what animates the work I'm doing with the Kentucky Cycling Project. So the third word is sustain. So talk to us about sustain.
So sustain is really important. We need to sustain our natural resources. And so I think a lot of outdoor recreationalists, they might have a passion for the activity, but they don't necessarily have a passion for the full for the land and its totality. And so like, I don't know if that makes sense, but my feelings is that if you are like a paddler, a hiker, mountain biker, etc., then you should be advocating for clean air, clean water, for less environmental degradation, or standing up for those issues. And so sustain is about that. And so in all the programs and things that I always do, I always talk about that. I talk about like, if we're on the Kentucky River, we're talking about how, this is Kentucky River watershed. These are environmental threats that it faces, stuff like that. And I try to sneak in that environmental education, and literacy to people and everything that I do. Also, sustain is like I do cleanups. I've helped a lot with establishing like cleanup events and a lot of like awareness campaigns. So I have friends that work at that lead like Kentucky Heartwood. So they keep the Forest Service honest and protect their native forests. And I try to broadcast out their content because I'm trying to show people like to be. I think that outdoor recreation has become so specialized that it's lost its roots. So I feel like the old school outdoor recreationalist or outdoors person was a more traditional environmentalists. Well, because they had to be, because it was like more. They didn't. There wasn't like these specialties. There wasn't gravel bike. There wasn't sport climbing and stuff like that. It was, yo, I really appreciate the forest. I really appreciate this mountain. I want to learn more about it, explore more about it. And so I think people cared more about it. And that was nowadays, a lot of people, it's just outdoor gyms. You know, the trails are outdoor gyms. So I don't know, it's kind of taking people back and letting people know, like, we need to sustain these natural resources to continue to the activity that you want to do, but also for nature's sake.
Yeah, makes sense. You mentioned that you do a number of events. So what are some examples of events that you host?
One of them, it was actually, I had to postpone it because of COVID-19, but it's here in Frankfurt. I just started it last year. It's called Expedition Frankfurt, and it's an adventure triathlon. So it starts at the state capitol. You run from the state capitol to Capitol View Park, mountain bike, and then you hop on, then you ride across the East-West Connector Bridge, and then you paddle downtown. So this is like the medal actually for it.
Cool.
So that's one of the events I do, and that was started just because Frankfurt has this reputation as this like sleepy governmental town, Mayberry-esque. Nothing really goes on, but in reality, it's probably one of the most adventurous capitals in the United States. We have mountain bike trails here. We have a major river system that's, you know, beautiful and scenic. We have tons of roads for like country cycling, road cycling, and then we also have like one of the region's top like whitewater, you know, streams. So we have a lot here, and so like that was part of like why I started Expedition Frankfurt, which is to show people like Frankfurt is the stuff. Another program that's been like long running is called Explore Kentucky's Ancient Forest. I do that in collaboration with the Kentucky Natural Land Trust. So it's a guided hike that we do at Blanton Forest State Nature Preserve over in Harlan County, and it's an old growth forest. So it probably hasn't been logged since like the early 1800s or so. It's a really beautiful hike. So I've been doing that since like 2015. And with that program, it was to get people to learn about canoty, get people to learn about old growth forests, but also going back to that connect, because a lot of people want to go to some of these more remote hikes. They want to go beyond the gorge, but they're kind of afraid to go alone. And so by doing this as a guided hike, it gets people together. And then a big program that I've started, like around 2016 or 2017, was the Bluegrass River Run. So that's like my big daddy, and I can't do it. It was supposed to be May 30th, but I have to like postpone it because of the virus. But it's a paddle sports festival on the Kentucky River. It starts at Fort Boonesboro State Park, and we had over 400 people attend last year. So we have a 19-mile paddle sports race that's from lock to lock, and then we have a 6-mile paddle sports race that goes from Fort Boonesboro to Proud Mary Barbecue, and then there's a float as well that goes from the park to Proud Mary Barbecue. And that Proud Mary Barbecue, there's a festival, so we have different vendors and educational partners and stuff like that. And we provide a shuttle for people. People can camp at the park. We also we give away like really cool like prizes and stuff like that, and people seem to get a kick out of it. Oh, and we provide canoe and kayak rentals too. So if you can't BYOB, bring your own boat. We provide it, and we also have paddle sports clinics, like learn how to paddle, an outrigger canoe, or refine your kayak skills and stuff like that, stand-up paddleboard skills. So that was just some of the programs.
So if it's okay with you, I thought we'd take a look at your, share my screen. We take a look at your website. Maybe you can give us a little tour as to the kind of resources and things that are out there.
Okay.
So here we are, the Explore Kentucky initiative website, which is explorekentucky.us. So kind of talk to us about what's here. Somebody comes out and see your website, what kind of information are they going to find?
All right. So if you click COVID-19 resources, that is because a lot of the different natural areas and parks are closed or have limited usage around the state. What I did was I compiled all that stuff and called all the different land managers and asked them, what's open, what's closed, and stuff like that. So you can click on like state, federal, nonprofit managed areas.
Gotcha.
And you can see what trails are closed, if the visitor centers open, stuff like that. So it's just a resource, and it's actually a lot of people have used it. Like the hits on my site from this page alone have been like through the roof because a lot of people want to know.
So
it's all in one place.
Absolutely. And so Gerry, I'm interested to know too. So what's the tickler for knowing when something might reopen?
I daily will look on these different websites for these groups or for these organizations, or they'll send me an email, or I'll call or look on their social media page. But a lot of these, I either emailed them or they emailed me.
Good deal. And these are links to each of these resources as well? Yeah,
but if you mouse over, it's hyperlinked, and you should be able to go to all their pages.
Yeah.
And I will say, I know that there a lot of these land management agencies, and they're working on figuring out their reopening structure. But I will say this: a lot of areas are actually open, but they just have limited what you can do there. I will say most of the visitor centers are closed. But some of the trails might be open, i.e. Fish and Wildlife, they never closed. Their wildlife management areas, they're open. But the Salado Visitor Center, it's been closed.
Gotcha.
Same thing with National Park Service. So places I know Big South Fork, they recently just opened back up last week.
Okay.
Yeah. They open back up their trails and backcountry camping.
Good deal.
So, and then I have, you click over to, I have city and county parks, and I haven't done as good a job with that because it's just so hard because there's so many 120 counties and then so many different municipalities. But I've really kept up with the state, federal, nonprofit management areas.
Yeah.
And then if you go out of that, there's a spot, you click backwards, back to COVID-19 resources. There's a scroll down. So click using parks and open space while maintaining social distance.
Okay.
So Explore Kentucky was a signatory. Thank you to the National. Explore Kentucky was a signatory to the National Recreation Park Association's joint statement on using parks and open space while maintaining social distance. So I signed the letter because I agree with everything that they were saying. So this is a statement and primer on how to enjoy natural spaces, in the era of COVID-19. And so these are just some ways for people to, think about and use when they go outside, i.e. refrain from using parks, trails if you're exhibiting symptoms, follow the CDC's guidance on personal hygiene prior to use of parks and trails, prepare for limited access to public restrooms or water fountains. So that means tell your kids hey, little John or Mary, hold it, you're gonna have to hold it, or while you're on trails, warn people of your presence and step aside and stuff like that. So this is just a really good deal to, because we're in this era where this highly contagious infectious disease. So, but we still want people, it's really important to get outside for the mental health and for, physical activities.
What about some other aspects of the site here?
So we have the field journal, and that's something that I'm working on more, and maybe you can even help yourself. But when I started this, it was meant to be like Kentucky's outdoor adventure, nature, uh, like publication. And
Mm.
I'm definitely looking for more writers and different people, but this is like where I keep people updated with like what's going on and stuff like that. So like there's an article, I wrote April 7th called Mass for All.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, if you click on that, it shows different masks. Like it talks about the different types of masks, like like a respirator, surgical, medical grade, DIY masks, and then I show some examples. If you scroll down, of different masks. So like there's one that's a buff, one from my friend Lacey Hale, that's a bandana, one that I made from a T-shirt, and
Mm.
then one I even made from a paper towel and canopy ties. uh,
Cool.
yeah, so the field journal is just like a publication to push out information about what's going on around the state, and yeah,
Good
and
deal.
then of course you have the shop. There's a bunch of different stories on
Oh
there
yeah,
over the year,
a lot of
over the
stuff.
different. Yeah, I'm trying to work on it better. I really would like to see like one piece a week, and I really need people that are interested in writing or have news and updates. So
So what's the best way? So if people, wanted to potentially contribute or have, information to share with you, what's the best way to do that?
I'm going to add a button here soon where people can click and to submit a submission or something like that. But I do have a connect page that people can go to and connect with me.
Good deal. So while we're here, so you want to talk about your different social media presences?
Yeah. Oh, so the biggest one probably is, click over. That's the big one. Is Instagram.
This one, yeah. Let's
Instagram.
take a look. 49,000 and a half
Yeah.
followers. That's a lot.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the like it's kind of weird. I always forget about it, and then I'll be like out in public, and it's like really weird. And I'm not trying to be like arrogant or full of myself, but sometimes it's like people will treat me like a little like a celebrity. It's like really interesting. Like, oh my gosh, the Explore Kentucky dude. Can we get a picture? Can we get on your? Can I get on your Instagram? Like I'll be out hiking and people were like, "Can I get a selfie? Can you put it on the Instagram?" And I'm like, "Okay." Sometimes, but yeah. So like I started this thing, like from my dorm room in Campbellsville, and like you can see, Nathan, it's grown. And then that hashtag Explore Kentucky has been used. Um, I want to say like over 236,520 times.
Wow. Explore Kentucky hashtag. Here we go. So anybody who uses that hashtag,
Mm-hmm.
and is there some way? Oh my goodness, 237,520 posts. So I'll say I recognized this as a hashtag long before I knew about what the Explore Kentucky initiative was. So yeah,
Yeah, I started it started that hashtag. I mean, it's just crazy to think about how all these pictures, but like I started that hashtag back in like 2013, and like to see now, like it's gone beyond me. It's really awesome, and it's inspired like other people too. Like
yeah.
these kids, they're at Moorhead. They started like a Rome, Kentucky thing, but then that kind of fell off. And there's been other people that try to start things, but it's been really cool.
Yeah. No, this is sort of social media at its best, I think, because it's like there's all these beautiful places to explore, and all you have to do is click on one of these pictures that speak to you and to get more information about where it is
Yeah,
or what it is, and
that's
so,
kind of like I said, going back to that connect. That was the point, was to get it to go beyond me, and I
yeah.
started off with just a few photos that I posted, but then I found. So this is funny. So like, we should have talked about this earlier, but whenever I started this, at the time, Instagram was not popping. Instagram was like, it was like just becoming a thing. It was around
Hmm.
2012 or so that Instagram became a thing, and I got one. I and because they had made it open for Android phones at the time.
I guess you were young enough and hip enough to be clued into it,
Yeah, yeah,
huh?
yeah. And so like the state didn't have Instagram, the state parks didn't have Instagram, Kentucky Tourism didn't have Instagram. A lot of people didn't, and so I saw it as this like social network, of visually of pictures, and I was like, man, we can use these pictures to really tell a great story about the state. So that's why I invested a lot of time into the gram because it I knew it reached a certain demographic, which I was shooting for was like millennials. And then as Instagram's grown, it's included all different age groups. And so it's been a really great tool for me. And it's really helped with like brand collaborations and stuff like that, you know. But that's the bread and butter. And you could see them there. I post like videos and pictures and I share content, that I shoot or other folks shoot as well. Yeah.
Cool. Well, and I know you've got some really cool merchandise, so I think it's worth looking out here. And this is your your graphic designer, I guess, on display. Some really visually appealing stuff.
Yeah, I need to work on better pushing out my sales because like I got so bogged down with my events that like sales slacked. But when I first started, um, oh my gosh, there was the Explore Kentucky decal #1. This is like the new version that I've had for a few years, but the old school, I used those shirts and stickers are flying off the racks.
Yeah.
Like you go down to Bowling Green, and because I had some partnerships with like Nats Outdoors and Bowling Green, uh, they like all over WKU and various areas like Explore Kentucky stickers. But yeah, so some really good stuff. I need to get back on it, but it's hard to do all this stuff like, with a one man show, trying to do programs, mail stuff and stuff. But it's fun and it's
Yeah.
really cool to see people like to drive on the interstate and you're like you see your sticker on someone's car. Like that's really special to me. Or like walk around, like I went like the mall like like last year and I counted like 4 people that had Explore Kentucky shirt on. And it was really really cool.
That's awesome. And what about the essential trips?
That's something that I am starting to work on. So I'm starting to work on that. Started working on it last year, but I'm kind of fiddling around with it because I'm possibly going to be working on like a book
Hmm.
of essential trips. But I have more essential trips that are just hidden. But the concept is like a lot of people want to know where to go, what to do,
Right.
and daily. I'll say this daily, Nathan. With Explore Kentucky having like 46 or 49,000 followers on Instagram, and all these folks on Facebook, and a lot of emails and website hits. I get emails daily. Hey, like Gerry, like Explore. A lot of times they'll say Explore Kentucky. Explore Kentucky. Me and my girlfriend want to go somewhere for a picnic. Where do you
Oh
suggest?
wow.
we're
No pressure.
we're we're a family of 5 with a dog. Where can we take this dog friendly where we can see a
Wow.
good hiking vista?
Yeah.
We're from Georgia. Can you do that? So like this essential trips thing is a way for me to kind of not have to answer all those emails and kind of tell people where cool places to go. So
Yeah.
I'm working on a few, and so I have this one up. This is just a test. This was a test, test one,
Oh, well, that's
and
cool. You know exactly where to go.
yeah. So like this trip, and I have one I'm working on for Sugar Camp, and I'm working on the format and stuff.
Yeah.
But this is like Nolan Tailwater, the Brownsville via the Nolan and Green Rivers, and
Yeah.
so it's a really cool, beautiful trip, and really scenic. You start off in front of this rock called Dismal Rock, and then you go on the Nolan River, which is really pretty, and then you hit then the Nolan goes through Mammoth Cave National Park, and then you hit the Green, and the Green is like wider than Nolan, and so it's really cool to float through the national park, and there's like these like cool like rock shelters and overhangs,
Mm.
and so with this essential trips thing, and this is like a beta thing that I'm trying to work on. It shows people like, this is the skill level. So like,
Yeah.
beginner, intermediate, advanced. How long this should take you. If it's wheelchair friendly, if there's parking near site, kid
Yeah.
friendly and stuff like that, and then like what to bring. And then it shows you like the length of the trip, what's there, and then some hashtags to use if you go on the trip. And then if you scroll down, Nathan, you can see my trip.
Oh yeah.
So I did a Strava link.
Yeah, I was curious to know. So you track your paddling on Strava, and of course that's resources very well known to folks in our cycling community. In terms of like resources to find things, like I know like for hikers, there's
all trails.
All trails, yeah, and then there's like
king.
Trail Forks and MTB Project, or like mountain bike resources. Are there resources that are out there specifically designed to identify paddling spots?
Not really. It's because like not really. There's no like to my knowledge, there's no like app like like Mountain Bike Project or All Trails that tells you good blueway trails to paddle. But they're in Kentucky, you can use the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. They have a really cool page, their blueway trails page, and I met the guy. And there's this guy who works at Fish and Wildlife. He writes these narratives about different trips. So they're really cool. So I encourage people to go on there and check him out. He writes these really prosy narratives about like, floating on the Red River, floating on the Green, going past all these different waterfalls. And so they have a bunch of different trips listed on there, but there's no app for it. And then if you're a rock climber, of course, there's Mountain Project that folks use. And
anything else you want to show us on the site here?
I do.
Okay.
So I'll show you a few more things. Just click our logo.
Okay.
So this is something where me and you probably know Lisa Unger.
I do.
Lisa Unger runs Frankfurt Striders. She's a really awesome person. So me and her have launched this thing called the Frankfurt Digital Dash running series. So it's meant to raise money for our new Frankfurt COVID-19 emergency relief fund.
Hmm.
So you can click over and show folks, but they can sign up to run like a 5K and a 10K. Through May 11th. We might extend the dates, and you join Strava, pay $15. All the funds go into the fund, but it's just a way to get people outside and moving.
Cool.
The digital dash, and then back out on our front page. If you click over the project, scroll down. That's a big thing that I do beyond events. Is I'm like behind the scenes helping out with advancing certain goals in Kentucky with outdoor recreation and environmental issues. So one of them, go back to past, was Beaver Creek Blueway Trail. So I helped develop this trail system in Glasgow. The mayor of Glasgow, old mayor, Mary Dick Doty, I got a call one day. I was driving to Bowling Green, and I posted on my Instagram story that I was going to Bowling Green to do something. So I get a call, and it's the mayor's office, like, hey, the mayor wants you to stop by on your way back from Bowling Green. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did, and the mayor's like, hey, can you follow me in my truck to this, random creek?
Now I'm hearkening back to all those warnings people were giving you about Kentucky before you came.
Yeah.
But I guess the mayor is a pretty reputable guy, right?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, yeah, okay. So I followed him, and we went to like this outside this VFW club, and where this creek was, where this creek runs through, and it was this really cool, beautiful stream. And he was like, "Do you think that this could be a really good place for people to paddle and recreate?" And I was like, "I'll have to float it to know." And so I looked and I was like, "I think we got something." So I put together a scope of work, and it was to clean the stream up because it had like a lot of trash, a lot of erosion, and develop put-ins and takeouts, and like then to map it. And I worked with my friend Carolyn Sexton on this, and you can scroll down. So, oh yeah, show them that logo really fast.
Which one? Oh, this guy?
Yeah, so my friend Jordan Jung, she designed that, and she's one of the Explore Kentucky's like graphic design partners. So she does some of the graphic work, but we designed like that logo, and then scroll down. And so these project pages, it kind of breaks down, gives a narrative about what the project was about and some highlights. So like, worked with the National Park Service on this project, the Glasgow VFW Club, Barron EMA. We cleared a 3-mile section of the stream, and it has free parking for paddlers at both ends of the trail. Explore Kentucky mapped the stream, documented hazards, mileage, and design access points, and then worked with the VFW to design wooden steps and provide egress to the creek. And then I got Vince Carmen to come down and just provide like, you probably know Vince Carmen.
I do very well. Vince is a great guy.
Yeah. I got him to come down just to give some pointers on the trail stuff. And then since 2018, we've hosted public cleanup days with volunteers in canoes. And we've collected over 1,500 pounds of trash. I need to update that because we've collected a lot more than that since then. And it's really sad because I was looking forward to doing another cleanup this year, but it's looking like we'll see if we can do it. So then we work with this. As I said, we work with the city attorney to write like an easement, and then you can click through the pictures and show folks. These are some of the people floating on the creek. There's me working on the steps to get down, and yeah.
So, what percentage of your work would you say are these type of projects?
Shoot, a lot actually, a lot, and I like them. I prefer them.
Yeah, well, I mean, you talk about building a legacy. I mean, this is this is pretty cool stuff to be able to come into a community and basically help make a natural resource able to be utilized for folks is a really important service, I think.
Yeah, it's so special. This is like, I think the Beaver Creek Blue Ray Trail. And can you go click backwards?
Sure.
So the Beaver Creek Blue Ray Trail it's really special to me, and I really want to finish it. So it's that creek. I really wanted to clear it all the way to Barron River Lake because it has potential for more access points. And like Blue Ray trails are like, I could talk all day about Blue Ray trails, but they're like a underutilized thing in Kentucky because a lot of people are looking for access points. There's not a lot of access points to like our waterways. They're looking for signage and stuff like that. So you can see like right there on that picture, that's one of the cool things that we did was I had Jordan design those signs, and then on the trees, at mile 1, mile 2, mile 3, or if there's a hazard, like there's a dam. It was an old like mill, and it's like a drop. So it says like dam 500 feet, access exit point 300 feet. So we have those signages all over the stream. And
that's
so
really good.
Cool.
That's something. I mean, I haven't done I really enjoy paddling, but I would not say that's something I spend a lot of time doing. But so I'm a novice. But in terms of wayfinding, is not something you typically see a lot of on streams. But it makes a lot of sense. I mean,
and it helps the paddler be more confident. It also helps for rescue purposes. So you can say like, hey, I went past that mile 1 marker, like, I think about 10 minutes ago. So then you could, So you talk about like legacy, like, it's been great for me to work on projects like that. Like people in that town was like, no one's really ever paddled that stream ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one. Like we were like canoeing down it, me and Carolyn, and we went past this person's house, and this guy was like, yeah, I think he was like probably like 40 something. He was like, I've never seen in my life anyone paddle on Beaver Creek. And that was like really cool for me.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, go back to the homepage. I just want to show people this. If you scroll down, if you have any events, just let me know. You can click that, and you can submit your event.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I'm working on. In previous years, it was popping full of events, but here, because of COVID,
Right.
a lot of things are in flux. So I haven't kept up with it, and some of these events are actually postponed and stuff. But if you have events, send them to me, post them there. I'll push them out. Yeah.
Good deal. Is there anything else that I haven't asked you about that you'd like to share with the Kentucky cycling audience?
I think I want the Kentucky cycling audience to think more about diversity and equity inclusion. So like, how can we, and it's not necessarily, I'm saying like getting people of all shapes, sizes, and colors outside. So it's just like, if you, one of the things I'm rich in is I have like a lot of different boats and boards. So I have like, 3 kayaks now, 2 paddle boards and stuff like that. And so I'm always like, yo, come on, get on, come and hop on, use this gear. So I'm like, one of the things the Kentucky cycling audience is like, we need to get more people into these sports at all different ages. So if you got that spare bike,
Mm-hmm.
a friend of a spare bike, you're sitting around the water cooler, say like, hey man, hey, what's up? You want to try mountain biking this weekend? I have a spare bike. Get you a helmet and let's go. And I want just people to think about asking different people at their workplace, friend group, church, wherever they may go, because I think it's important to get everyone outside and moving. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Gerry, I thank you very much for your time and for being a guest on this Zoom interview series we're doing as part of the Kentucky Cycling Connection series. I really enjoyed connecting with you.
Cool. Yeah.
All right,
thank
man.
you.
Thanks again to Gerry James from the Explore Kentucky Initiative for being a guest in the Kentucky Cycling Connections series. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to stay tuned for more Zoom interviews in the coming weeks.